It's the Year of Shame Challenge.
Hello and welcome to Season 12 of the Year of Shame Challenge. My name is Toby James. I'm joined by my esteemed colleagues Richard Purvis, Richard Forder and Kevin Horsley. Richard, say hello.
Hello.
I was waiting to see who would go first. Kev, say hello.
Hello.
Okay, so quick intros. As mentioned, my name is Toby James. I have been a member of Midlife Gamer now since 2014. Went to my first MLGX the same year and drew in the hallowed Book of Dicks. I spent most of my early time with Midlife Gamer playing in the Midlife Gamer FIFA team, which is how I met Mr. Richard Purvis. And now I can't get him to leave me alone because he's a sex pest. And then I also hopped in on Year of Shame Challenge Season 7, where myself and the wonderful Mr. Richard Forder got better acquainted. Mr. Purvis, tell them a bit about yourself.
Hey, it's Richard Purvis here, aka Cool Brit, as I like to say. So I came into Midlife Gamer to be a sex pest, to basically follow Toby around. I've got a bit of a kink for bald bearded men, which is why this is absolutely fantastic for me this season. I also did season 8 with a few of the boys, and how the hell I've got myself roped back into this, I don't know, but Toby James has convinced me, mainly through blackmail of my predatory actions, but you know,
those dick pics.
Exactly. So looking forward to it. I think wanted to get back in, actually play some games, and stop playing FIFA.
Lovely. And Mr. Forder.
So sorry, got an awful cold. I came into Midlife after those other two reprobates. I've attended as many MLGXs as they've had them in Birmingham, or Birmingham, as it was one year. I did, as Toby said, year 7 with him. Known as much for board gaming as video gaming, probably, at this point. Didn't particularly get much off my pile last time, I seem to remember. Just didn't buy any shit stuff because I was spending a lot of time playing World of Tanks at that point, which I don't do now because it's been wanked up by the Russians. Yeah, that's me.
Well, Rich, I don't know if you remember, but in Season 7, the big game that came out was Anthem. And we had a massive laugh at all of the people in the community that had gone on about how it was going to be the best game ever. And everyone could shut up because the hype train is so fast. The other big game that year was the Division 2, also a broken game that got delivered. So we really lucked out. We'll go through this year's releases in a bit and see just how lucky we are this year. But first, we have a new challenger entering the arena. And a fairly unknown quantity, I think it's fair to say. So, Kev, tell the people.
Hi, I'm Kevin. So I joined the MLG Facebook page back in 2015. Haven't really had a huge amount of interaction outside of that, and only kind of like mostly a lurker even then in the Facebook group. Did attend one MLGX. Can't remember when that was though. And me and a couple of mates, very shy, sitting in the corner, not really engaging with anybody else. So limited interaction with the community.
Talk about absolutely jumping in with both feet then into literally one of the craziest challenges you could do.
Yeah. So what brought you to the Year of Shame Challenge, Kev?
A ridiculously high pile of shame.
Ridiculously high.
Well, maybe that too. So my Steam library alone is around 400 games, let alone like all the additional things. Of that, I think my completion rate is maybe like 20% or something. So I'm pretty keen to complete some of the games that are sitting on my list, and stop buying so much shite.
Beautiful.
I could only wish for a 20% completion rate.
Yeah, I was going to say I am essentially a person who buys a new game and forgets that all other games exist. And that's why I need this challenge so badly.
I buy the new game and forget the new game exists.
Yeah, that happens too. The wife's just bought me Spider-Man 2 for Christmas. I was like, ooh, that'll be a fun one to have in the Year of Shame. And then I booted it up and I realised I haven't actually played Miles Morales, which I also own, but never played it.
Yeah.
So I'm now going back and play Miles Morales before I play number 2. And I'm actually really enjoying it. I don't know why I didn't hit it. I think it's because Peter Parker's always been my Spider-Man. And so new ones aren't for me.
That's another discussion that who your Spider-Man is.
Much like new music isn't for me. I don't want a new Spider-Man. I don't want new music. Music stopped around 2004. That's it. So cool. All right. That is the intros out of the way. So, as with every Year of Shame challenge, people are very keen to hear the rules that we're playing by. What's the name of the chap that likes to keep us in check? Richard Purvis?
So, Joe Middleton, if you're listening, I expect you to do what you did to us, and that's be a pedant police FBI agent, keeping everyone in check. But
I think he jumped in on the group when we were asked for some questions for our opening episode. So, what are your rules? I must know.
Yes, that's Joe. That's Joe the pedant. If we don't keep us, we just need to keep ourselves self-regulated. Otherwise, he'll be in on us.
Like Ofcom.
It's like fucking Ofcom.
Just like
fuck Ofcom. Fuck Ofcom is what he's like.
Fuck Ofcom. That's how cool our podcast is. We've referenced Ofcom in the first episode.
That was a challenge. That was.
Yeah. Okay, good. So, our rule set is fairly standard as Year of Shame challenges go. We have not deviated too far from the golden rules, which are for the next 12 months from January the 1st, 2024 through to December the 31st, 2024. We will buy no games, with the exception of one Joker and one gift. Given that we live in a landscape now where Game Pass and PS Plus are required to play a lot of our games online, we spoke about the rules and decided we would keep those. However, we would not be allowed to download any new games from those services for the next 12 months, so they will be purely online gaming only. Anything that is not on our spreadsheets on the 1st of January, which will all be uploaded to the Facebook group, we will not be able to play.
What I'm really loving here, Toby, just to interact on this, is I'm watching Kev's face as if this is the first time he has ever heard these rules. Like, he's a guy who's literally walked off the street and joined this podcast and said, hang on a minute, what have I just signed up to? Because I'm calling you out, Kev, right?
Yeah.
How many episodes of Year of Shame have you listened to, and how much do you know the rules?
I have now listened to 2, both of which were today. I knew the vague concept that we weren't buying anything new for a year, and that was about it. So yes, these are the first time, and I am listening intently to make sure I don't cock up.
What you don't know is the punishment that happens if you break the rules. It's literally
the unmitigated waves of shit that appear from the community if you step 1 foot outside of the lines. Like in Full Metal Jacket, when the guy's going in on Private Pile. Like, that is tame.
Right, okay. That's good to know. Good to know.
That's like mother's milk. That's simple.
That's easy. Richard, if you've told any of your friends or family you're on this podcast and for them to listen, you can probably tell from our quick chats before and our chats on WhatsApp. You don't want anyone. As soon as I've just outed myself as a
you meant Kev. You said Richard.
Yeah, but we're in different positions. It's not good radio. Did I say Richard? No. Oh, what I was saying is Richard. Oh, well, I was halfway through saying Richard Forder comes round and takes a big poo through your letterbox. That's the first. That's the first rule break.
About all of the poo and all of the Forder. So we just got Richard. You want to watch out.
Wow.
Which is, fair.
Fill in the blanks.
Chaps, before we move on from our rules, it's also worth noting no pre-orders. So nothing that you've snuck in as a pre-order in December that comes out in April. Do that. 4 the shits for your letterbox. Last
Didn't
thing.
hear it.
I was fortunate enough to record the final episode with Season 11 earlier on this week. And a couple of the chaps from the Season 11 team tried to foist upon us some golden rules that they wanted to pass on to us in the hopes that we would then shit on the year after us and give them some golden rules that would fuck them up. So, the first rule they offered us was that someone else in the Year of Shame challenge would be able to choose your Joker. So you could choose to play your Joker at any time, but then someone else in the challenge chooses the game.
Nope.
Which just sounds fucking terrible.
In what universe would I let? I mean, I don't know how vindictive you are, Kev, but I do know that you're not very careful with what you do because you've joined this. There's no way I'm allowing Toby or Forder to choose my. No.
It's an interesting one, though, isn't it? Because whoever goes first, the rest of the group might be inclined to be kind to them.
That sets the tone.
I don't know.
Either way, it's
it won't happen.
Dreadful rule.
We've got the tone of this group. It's they're suggesting that I'm going to shit through letterboxes, so nobody's going to get a good game if that happens.
Yeah,
exactly.
Fair.
I mean, I am firmly of the mindset that at the moment there are probably only 2 games I'm really interested in this year, and I have a birthday, a Father's Day, and a Christmas. So, 1 gift, 1 Joker. Bing, bing, ding. And I don't want any of you fuckers picking a game that I don't want to play. Because that's just a waste of time.
So should we have a round table vote on it? I mean,
yeah, let's have a vote. All those in favour of this terrible rule, say aye. All those vehemently against and want it to die, say aye.
Aye. Say die. No way. No way, Jace. You vindictive bastard.
That wasn't Jace's rule.
Was it not? Ross's, was it? Fair
Only
enough.
2 of them offered rules, Ross and Sai. And you know Sai's is going to be shit because it's Sai. Sai's offering was slightly different. And I know that, Mr. Purvis, you wavered on this one a little bit when I brought it up to the group chat. And that was that you have to complete 10 games before you can play your Joker.
The reason why I thought this was a good idea was because from previous seasons, and Rich, you've alluded to it. You didn't do a massive amount of games in the year, or me, so some kind of rule where you've got to get to a certain level of games might focus us on doing it, because we can get distracted on games. We could play Broforce all year, for God's sake. Although Ford
and we fucking will.
Yeah, exactly, or FIFA or whatever, or Rocket League. You know, you can just get on with never-ending games and not get through a pile. Whereas I think that's against the original Pile of Shame.
Yeah, I completely get what you're saying. I also just don't like being told what to do any more than the rule set that we already have.
Oh, you're such a libertarian. You know what I mean?
Sure fucking am.
Yeah.
Help me, I bleed Jeremy Corbyn.
We said no politics.
That's not politics anymore. He's not a member.
He is a member.
He's not a member.
Kev, what was it? You've got to complete 10 games or what?
No, you just can't use your Joker until you've completed 10 games.
Yeah, and so I then suggested, well, what about if you don't complete 10 games before playing your Joker, then the rest of the guys get to pick it for you. I mean, a little bit of a kind of Top Gear car in the background.
With that, says to me, is just you say you're not playing your Joker till you've completed 10 games. That doesn't allow anyone else to choose it because you just don't then play it. Like that's pointless.
Yeah, I think we're tapping into some problem you had back at school where you were told what to do and you didn't like it and you rebelled against it.
And then the teacher let you out of the cupboard.
I'm not allowed to talk about my time at school.
In the nunnery.
In the convent.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, good. So, do we want to put that one to the vote as well?
No, let's just not do it.
Let's just not do it because Stevens offered it.
Right on, brother. Well, welcome to democracy. You didn't even bother putting it to those. I could have voted, and you just tramped all over my vote. I see.
All right. Stop. Let's put it to the vote. All those in favour of the 10 games for playing your Joker rules, say aye.
Aye.
You're outvoted. See you later.
Well, that's fair enough. But I've still managed to exercise my right to vote. Thank you very much.
You haven't exercised for weeks.
That's true. That is very true.
Actually, no, you have. You did like 35k.
What, are you stalking me on Strava, are you?
Yeah, I've got Stravas.
Who's the sex pest now?
I like to know what you're doing, darling.
Yeah, I don't think they're supposed to be... I don't think sex pests are supposed to kind of, you know...
I think at the point that the sex pest is two-way, it's called a relationship.
It's not two-way, it's called a relationship. Yeah, that's absolutely right.
Good.
Let's move on.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. A very progressive podcast.
Move on.
Okay,
this is beyond progressive. This
lovely. So I'm going to pass things over to our new boy, Mr. Horsley, to posit a question. And that question is: how are we feeling about this year?
So I'm asking this question to others to clarify.
And about your own thoughts and feelings, man.
Sure. Well, we'll start with a Rich. You guys can decide which Rich. What is the plan? And what are you looking to get out of this?
You want me to take that, Richard? He's got face on.
You want me to take? You want me to take that, Richard? Is another way of saying you want me to take that dick.
Well, I'm just thinking how we're going to get through this. We're going to get through this year without distinguishing ourselves. We can't be. We're not in grammar school, so we can't be Forder and Purvis.
No, we're not having that.
No, all right, well then Purvis is older, so Purvis is Rich 1.
Forder's Dick.
Oh, Forder's Rich 2. That's simple, easy, comfortable.
Okay. So Rich 1 and Rich 2.
All right, like thing 1, thing 2, right? Let's Dr.
Thing 1,
Zeus.
thing 2.
Right. Okay.
And we've still got dick jokes in there by being things.
Fair enough.
So Rich 2, I think that was then going to. What's your plan? What are you looking to get out of it? Have you got specific games you're looking to get done?
Right. So obviously we're not buying anything this year, but I'm starting off with 6 games, and that's not going to sound like a massive amount, but I'm including all the DLCs that I've got for those in there, and some of them are actually quite big. So I'm starting off with got Graveyard Keeper, and I've got all the DLCs for that. So we got Stranger Sins, we got Better Save Souls, and Game of Thrones, which comes with it. I've got Cyberpunk 2077. I don't have Phantom Liberty, but I'm going to complete that.
I've got going to jump in on Phantom Liberty before the buzzer.
Nah, because it costs too much and I can't be asked.
Have you started? Have you started 27 and bounced off, or just not even started it? Or
aside from Graveyard Keeper, I haven't started any of these. Got Callisto Protocol, and so it's a bit Dead Spacey, so that might be something that Dead Space might get looking on the Joker later on. I've got Call of Cthulhu, I got Dredge and the DLC for that, and 2 Point Campus plus 2 of the 3 DLCs because they all came in a bundle. If I get through those, I'm going to shift further down, but I haven't decided what I'm going to go at because I'm going to use those first of all to get them out of the way, see how we get on.
Excellent. And Toby, what's your strategy? Having been a while since you did it, but is it same as last time or?
No. So last year, much the same as Rich. Rich and I pretty much just fannied about for the whole year. and our
That's
co-host Simon. Steve. Jesus, sorry, Steve. Steve got through like 60% of his pile, I think, of the year, and me and Rich were both at about 5% completion. And I think we're both here to atone for our sins a bit.
Pretty much.
Like having a look at my spreadsheet, there's a lot of the same stuff on there. You know, and I've got some big games on my list. Fallout 3, Fallout 4, Red Dead 2, Red Dead 1. You know, as well as a lot of new shiny things that I'm sort of part way through. Like I was really loving Assassin's Creed Valhalla. It was the first thing I bought when I got my PS5, and then other new shiny things sort of derailed me a bit. So I want to go and box off some other stuff. I want to go through some of my beautiful indies that I've got in the list. I was listening back through mine and Rich's year over the last few weeks, trying to get back in the podcast zone. And one of the things that jumped out to me was a conversation we had about finding some real gems of indie games. And we discussed this with you season 11 when I was on theirs the other day as well. Like Thomas Was Alone is a game that I always revert back to as a game that just shows how amazing an independent game can be. And finding a few more little nuggets like that and blitzing them off because they tend to be pretty quick. Really, just actually looking back through the scores of games, I think I must be in similar numbers to yourself, Kevin, the 400s in my library across both consoles. And I really want to experience some of the stuff that I obviously cared enough about to pull the trigger on. So it's time to get back in there, remember why, and enjoy them, what they are. So that's my plan, is try and actually make more of a fist of it this year and have some actual completions. I also have a 7-week-old daughter, so I have no fucking money. On top of my 7-year-old daughter. She's not on top, that's weird. Separate rooms. Yeah, so I have kids, and that equals no money because I'm poor. So part of the idea is just to save the money, man. So across those two things, that's kind of how I'm feeling about it. I'm really excited to get going with it. As much as I just spoke about not wanting to be told what to do by season 11 with their golden rules, I actually quite like the structure of knowing that I'm not going to be buying anything and therefore not jumping on hype trains, not trying to figure out a way to buy stuff. And so I quite enjoy that. I'm looking forward to it.
So do you think you'll switch off from gaming news entirely, or like outside of the...
No, I quite, like I mentioned earlier with the year that Richard Forder and I did it, like Anthem was the big release that year, and it was an absolute dog turd of a game. I think I finally bought it for $1.99, just because I was like, fucking buy it, it's $1.99.
$1.99 you'll never get back.
Yeah, but that's on my pile for this year, so I may
Wow.
dip in.
Oh.
But you know, I think I enjoy the news because I enjoy seeing people look like dickheads when they've gone absolutely apeshit about a game that ends up being a dog turd. Like I take a lot of joy in that. Like I'm sadistic like that. I enjoy people suffering, going absolutely mental for a game and then realizing that they've spent £70 on what is essentially a dog turd with next gen graphics.
Excellent, good to know. Okay, so Rich 1 then. So what's your Rich 1?
Plug one on the mic. Yes. Yeah. Thanks again. Well, very similar to the other guys, obviously, and everyone else. For me, some of the best gaming memories have been when in season 8 for me, 2020, when I put my mind to completing games I didn't want to complete for some reason before. So, for example, The Witcher, which I absolutely loved, and I've got a real habit of getting 60, 70, even 80% through a game, and for some reason, just not completing on it. I don't know why. So I've got lots of big titles. I mean, my Exaphase shows that I've got 405 games owned. Completion rate is very low, but for me, a completion is getting through to the end of the story. So I'm not really a trophy hunter. I'm not going to try and chase trophies. I get quite frustrated with games when I do, but I just want to get to the end of the story-driven games that I've given up on. So the ones that are sitting on the top of my pile, Baldur's Gate 3, I love Baldur's Gate 3. I was going to play this 3 or 4 times through this year. And I've just got stuck at 60, 70% for some reason. So getting back into Baldur's Gate.
That's too big a game for a year of shame, man.
What, Baldur's Gate?
Yeah, it's going to drain your balls right out.
No, I say I go with these games. For me, completion is about route 1 in it through. So, I mean, Baldur's Gate, I've done 75 hours in it, and I'm only in Act 2. But this is what I want to use it for.
I did complete Baldur's Gate within like 2 or 3 months, so I think it is doable. But it was like 140 odd hours of gameplay for me. So, yeah, it's definitely a big one.
And this is what I want to use Year of Shame for, is to knock those big ones off the list. My problem is that I get sucked back into FIFA 23, Rocket League, the pick up and play games, the one I can do 15 minutes, and then I'll do like 3 hours on FIFA, whereas I could have done 3 hours on Baldur's Gate and actually enjoyed it.
So how does...
only, aren't you, Rich One?
You what?
PlayStation only, right?
So PlayStation only with a bit of Steam. You don't
have Starfield in your.
And that's a game. See, that's a game I've avoided because I knew I would pick it up and enjoy it and then drop it. So it's a bloody tidy game. The other game that I'm wanting to get through is Diablo 4, which I absolutely love. I want to platinum that, and that will take me to do at least level 50 on all of the characters available. So that's a bit of a strange one. I'm going to have to work out what my completion is. But then I've got things like The Last of Us Part 2. Love that game. Again, 50, 60% of the way through the storyline, haven't done it. So for me, it's about getting those AAA big storyline one-player games done. Because when I do it, absolutely fucking love it. Like Hellblade. I would never have done Hellblade without Year of Shame.
That's on my pile this year.
And I love it, and I loved it, and it's one of my favourite gaming experiences. And I've got that. What's that one you recommended, Toby, the other day?
I don't know.
The one that you said was a different experience. You said, guys, please make sure this is on your pile. So I've added it to the library.
Uncanny Valley, was that
it? Uncanny Valley. Is that some kind of robot porn?
It's a robot one, yeah. It's a really interesting game. I don't know what I said to get.
You said it was really interesting. One of the best gaming experiences you've ever had, and you've completely forgotten. It was absolutely you on WhatsApp.
I'm gonna have to look through our gaming chat.
Rich too. He recommended it to you as well. Kev, do you remember what he said?
I don't, I'm afraid.
Was it before Kev joined the chat?
It's either that or I'm having a mental breakdown. But anyway. Yeah. To answer the question,
he said something. It was something. I asked him to sell it to me.
To answer the question, and I also love. Go on.
What did I? I'll be able to remember it now because I remember I posted a trailer.
You did. Literally, you need to go and get your brain checked. This was yesterday you did it, or yesterday the other morning.
It wasn't yesterday.
You had claimed it was the greatest game you've ever played, one of the most beautiful experiences you ever had, and you were literally looking at me like my 90-year-old grandfather would. if I had a 90-year-old grandfather.
The Artful Escape.
The Artful Escape, yeah, I've no idea what that is, and I love stumbling across indie games that are like that. So I've got Disco Elysium and stuff like that on my list.
I've got that, but my challenge to you, if that's the case, before January the 1st comes round, is to get Thomas Was Alone and play through it.
I already have Thomas Is Alone. It's on my pile, and I should play.
My challenge is for you to finish that game this year.
Oh, a little Toby challenge. A little Toby challenge.
To you, because it is an experience that you won't forget.
I don't get it. I'm sorry.
You don't get Thomas Was Alone?
Don't get it.
Are you not listening to the story and the narrative? Are you just pressing A to try and get through as quickly as possible because you're a route runner?
It was years and years since I played it. I came out, and I think everyone was telling me that it was this amazing game, and I literally put it on, and I thought, I've got the wrong game here. What the fuck is this?
Is it because it's just squares and it made you think it was rubbish?
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Right in that. Come on, expand your mind. Let's go.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Listen, I trust you impeccably, Mr. James. So I will commit to do Thomas.
No, really?
All right.
When he's alone.
When he's alone, yeah. Don't do it when he's with his friends. He won't like that.
When he's alone, jagged and in a dark room. Purvis.
All right.
Brilliant.
So, I was going to say, let's get the new boy in on this. So you ended up here, Kev, by a series of messages. One that you sent, and then one that we sent to you. So tell us, what's your plan for the year? How do you intend to tackle this as a first-timer? Because we're all seasoned veterans who, as we've said, did fuck all the times that we did it first. So you have a chance to show us up a bit here and be like, well, I'm going to do it this way, and I'm going to be a fucking pro. So, yeah, tell us.
Yeah, so I don't think it's all been very last minute. I'd sort of vaguely thought about it, and then I sent Jace a message, and
Never do that.
he didn't really come back to me for a couple of days, and then next thing I knew, I was in it and it was happening. So it wasn't quite as planned out as I perhaps would like it to be. I've sort of had some vague thoughts about it over the last week that I've been involved. And I'm definitely in a similar situation where there's some sort of big AAA big story games that I just have never actually managed to get across the line. So Mass Effect Andromeda is a big one for me. I actually really enjoyed it when it came out, but just never managed to actually finish it.
I need to speak to you after you finish it because
okay.
Mass Effect. Richard 2 will tell you how insane I get about Mass Effect.
I'm an absolutely massive fan of Mass Effect. I think the first one is one of the games that I've got the most gameplay in. I used to be much more console based, but these days it's all PC. So you've got that Dragon Age Inquisition. I finished, but never finished the DLC. And the DLC is obviously going to have a huge impact on the next game that's coming out. So I've got a playthrough that's maybe 60% of the way through, so I want to finish that off and do the DLC and stuff ready for Dreadwolf when that comes out. I'm hoping that it's not next year. They said they're going to have a proper big announcement sort of September, October time next year, I think. So I'm hoping they're not going to go, here it is, and release. I don't think that they will. And even if they do, I think at that point I can wait a few months. But we'll see. That's going to be, if that happens, that's going to be the big challenge for me to not get that. Although whether I'll still have my Joker at that point, I guess. Yeah. Or convince some fool that they want to spend 60 quid on a game for me.
Because it's EA, you'll get an announcement and then you'll get at least 15 trickles before anything comes out.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't worry.
Yeah, I think it's unlikely. It just was the only real kind of concern I had about anything that might happen next year. I've also got Disco Elysium, which I was huge fan of, was desperate for its release. Did everything I could to kind of spread the word about it both in MLG and everywhere else. And then it came out and I played it for 20 minutes and then stopped. And not because I didn't like it, just I don't know what it was. I just bounced off it.
It's very difficult. Will you be? Here's a question for all of you. To get through these games, I don't do walkthroughs or help, which is why it takes me so long to get through games. But what about you guys?
I avoid walkthroughs as much as possible. There are times that I have resorted to it, but only because the game didn't make sense. I'm sure a lot of you are perhaps familiar with the damn goat in is it Broken Sword?
Yeah.
Maybe not from the
Yeah,
blank faces.
in the Irish castle. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
There's just no way that anybody is ever going to solve that without a bloody walkthrough. So there are times where it's necessary, but
Well, I think to almost a devil's advocate on that, that's the point of the midlife gamer community. Like I bought Bloodborne on day one release. I can't fucking do it. I can't fucking do it. And I've asked so many people in Midlife Gamer, and so many people when it came out posted guides of this is how you do it, and you have to parry an attack, and this and that, and blah blah. I still can't fucking do it. And so it's sitting on my pile, and you know I may have another stab at it this year. But who needs guides when you can ask people on your level?
I've got that with Frostpunk. I've had so many people telling me how good Frostpunk was, and I love me a good RTS. Can I fucking do I can't even do the bastard tutorial. It's meant to teach you how to do the fucking game, and everyone dies.
Let me be a second devil's advocate here as well, Kev. This is something like the guy said before we started recording. Everything annoys Toby. Dragon Age, right? All set up to be absolutely fucking fantastic. One button for attack. One button.
Mm-hmm.
I can't play games with one button for attack. I can't do it. Because I just feel like I'm not doing it. I'm standing there going,
So
I
not
have a lot of
to.
Dragon Ages in my pile. Where, you know, they've been gifted, they've been in games with golds or PlayStation Pluses or EA Plays or whatever. But yeah, someone's got to sell it to me harder because at the moment it can fuck off.
Yeah, so I think it is. I get it. The first one was a lot better in that it was you set a sequence of events rather than it wasn't that sort of manual direct attack. And not to get episode 0 starting platform wars, but they dumbed it down for the console generation, where you've only got a finite number of buttons at your fingertips, and so they have to reduce what each button is for and all the rest of it. Whereas when you're playing on the PC, you've got almost an infinite number of buttons at your fingertips, and games can be more complex.
All hail the master race!
Absolutely.
All hail the master race! To be honest, just a couple of buttons, that's enough for you, Toby. Just don't get ahead of yourself,
I need
mate.
more buttons. I need more
With
buttons.
those keyboards and all of that stuff. You've only got
Skyrim, one of the most phenomenal experiences ever. Loved it. Go back to it every so often. Go back to it when I'm sad. Go back to it when I just want to break some stuff. Because it has a lot more... It's got a much richer combat than one button.
It's still only one button to attack, though.
No. Elder Scrolls Online is. Skyrim is not. Or you are playing it wrong, sir.
Listen.
You're just putting the triggers, aren't you, to attack?
Not if
Been a long time.
It depends how you play, I guess. Is the amicable answer?
Should we talk Diablo 4 then?
No.
That is one button to attack, isn't it?
That's one button to play. Press button to play. Press button to stop playing. I love it. I love it. I love it. I got no problem with Dragon
Ball.
Dragon Ball. Dragon Sushi.
I got no problem with balls or dragons.
No.
All right, cool. Lovely. So that's some sections boxed off here. So, Rich, tell us about some releases that are coming out this year that we might want to start getting upset about early.
Okay, boys. What I've tried to do is what I've done is a top 12. See what I've done there? Not top 10.
What a random countdown.
So it's not a random countdown. This is season 12. This is like numerical alliteration, mate. This is genius. This is my marketing brain at the worst. We do everything in 12s.
This is the Don Draper coming out.
This is base 12, mate. The world is base 12. 12 hours in a day, the Dirty Dozen, 12 Days of Christmas, season 12, other things to do with 12, legal age in some places. Right.
Lauren wore the number 12.
Exactly. Anyway, all right. So I picked these out of a list which are just more of an interest because they're more varied. So they're mainly going on the most anticipated games, but there's a few other things in there I thought was interesting just to get your kind of the three of you to where you guys are thinking, what kind of games you like, and see if any of these float your boat. So give us a rating of meh. Or, yeah, that's going to do my pile in. So the first one on my list that I picked out for release this month, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth. Anyone played Like a Dragon, the Yakuza Like a Dragon game?
Yeah, no. It's on the pile. The first one.
Not heard of it, I'm afraid.
I've got so much Yakuza on my pile, I don't need any more.
So this one, so Like a Dragon changes the concept. So it goes into a turn-based mode as opposed to.
So see, that's piqued my interest then, because I love a good turn-based game.
So it works like the Yakuza GTA, whereas your free roam around a city, free roam. And then when you come to an encounter, it turns into, I guess, Final Fantasy stroke Tekken. So it sets it up. So it's got set turn-based moves, but it kind of gets the feel of a Tekken game, whereas it's a one-on-one fight or a one-on-two fight, and you're choosing your moves in order. You look horrified, Toby.
It's bad enough that I've got that in Midnight Suns to deal with. I don't need fucking that shit as well.
Midnight Suns is amazing.
Why do you like that format? What is it about the turn-based stuff?
See, it wasn't quite what it. So I like the strategy element of it. Like when it makes you stop and think, it's usually because to try and make you do it in real time would not be strategic enough, right? Like it would be, unless you're an actual general or somebody well versed in war tactics, to have to think that fast with something that complicated tends to not work. Midnight Suns, XCOM, any kind of turn-based Fire Emblem. I'm a huge fan of the Fire Emblem series.
Me too. Yeah.
So I just love that kind of like turn-based tactical, think it out. If you make a mistake, if something goes wrong, it's because you made a mistake, not because the RNG fucked you over, or well, I mean, XCOM is obviously famous for the RNG fucking you over. But yeah. So I like that element of it is actually a challenge for me mentally rather than luck based or I didn't whack that button quick enough based.
Yeah, well, I didn't play Yakuza Like a Dragon, so I've no idea whether Yakuza Infinite Wealth, but it was on one of the lists of most highly anticipated games. To me, I've never played a Yakuza game, never fancied it. Rich, too?
I've never played a Yakuza game. I like an RTS, but I've never played a Yakuza game. I've played some Final Fantasy. I might do. I'd have to have a look at it. Can't say at this point it does.
Don't get me wrong. Imagine GTA 6. Oh, fucking hell! Imagine that. Imagine GTA 5 around where you're running around. And
I'll just stop you there. As someone who's played a lot of Yakuza games, they pretend it's open world, and all of the maps are actually this big.
Yeah, that's why I kind of gave it a bit of a. Because what I've seen,
you can walk down 3 streets. It's like in terms of GTA, it doesn't even come close.
Yeah,
because you've got sort of 3 streets, and then you have to get in a taxi to travel to another section that has 3 streets, another section that has 3 streets, and it's ultimately the most batshit crazy game series. Like the story tries to be quite intense, and it's very. I don't know how up you are on Asian cinema, but like Hard Boiled and things like that, it tries to be very much in that vein, like give it a real gritty story. But then a dude runs up to you in his underpants and says, "Hi, I'm Mr. Libido. Have you bought any women's knickers this week?" And you're like, "What the fuck is this?"
You've been to
big
Swansea.
throw on you there.
You've been to Swansea, mate. You should come there.
No, but there's like a whole mission because in Japan it's a thing that there are vending machines where you can buy schoolgirls' underwear, which is weird in its fucking self. There's a whole mission in Yakuza 0 where you have to help a girl who a man watched her put her underwear in the vending machine and then he stalks her, and you have to help her by beating him up and getting her stuff out of the machine and somewhere else. And it's just like, why is this happening in a game about fucking Japanese mafia? What is this?
Exactly. What I like there, Toby, is that you reference, I don't know if you guys are up on Japanese cinema like I am, but have you seen Hard Boiled? That was 1990, mate. That was 30 years ago. So I don't think name me the latest Japanese...
I didn't say I was up on it. I just didn't say I didn't know whether you were.
Fair enough. Well rescued. Anyway, staying at no one's breaking their Joker in January 26th for that one. That's absolutely not at all. So staying on the Japanese tip here, Square Enix classic Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Are they still wanking Final Fantasy VII?
They've given up on doing. Keep doing more.
Is this the part 2 of the remake?
Part 2 of the remake.
The remake didn't need to happen. The original was such a great... Final Fantasy VII was my first real Final Fantasy experience and my first experience of any game of that kind. And I absolutely adored it. And I think that, I played a bit of the remake and went, this isn't what was brilliant. So I've binned it off. And I don't see why milking that even more is actually helpful.
I agree. I didn't understand. Yeah,
as the guy said, everything annoys Toby.
Kev, you Final Fantasy Rich, Final Fantasy Rebirth?
Nah.
So I've never really got into Final Fantasy. Bit of the 14 online. Done some of that, but not a huge amount. I keep looking at the 7, the remake, but it's just been too much money for something that I'm not even sure whether I'm going to enjoy it or not. Like, it goes on sale and it comes down to 35 quid, and I'm just like, that's still not a on sale price, right? Like, that's full game price. But that's speaking as a PC gamer, where the games tend to be quite a bit cheaper. It's 35 quid is what I sort of tend to look to spend on brand new day one release games.
Let me throw this at you, Kev, because I think this might give us some context, which we don't have. How old are you?
Yeah, so I'm 37. Okay. As much as I joined Midlife Gamer in 2015, I probably was not classed as middle age at that point. I think I'm just about getting there now. But yeah, it's I sort of missed out on some of those older games as a kid. Saying that, I had a PC from the age of 5. So like I'm a bit of a weird. It certainly was unusual for people my age to have computers at that point, but I've very much grown up around them. It's why sort of, I am quite heavy on the PC love.
Yeah, no, of course. And more power to you. We have to have a master race to bow down to, or else who else would we know has all the better stuff? So thank you for being a benevolent dictator. It helps in terms of a reference point, because obviously Rich 1 is the oldest of the group. I think I beat Mr. Forder just marginally. I think I do. I think we're both in our 40s, but I think I'm marginally ahead of you.
Are you late for this?
Guys, this is turning into a date. This is turning into a dating site. Please stop
if I want to fuck Rich, I'll fuck Rich.
Look,
don't you get in my way.
He's definitely over 18, right? He's even over 21. So there's literally no states in the world that wouldn't be legal for you to get busy with Mr. Forder. So the point
I'm making here, Rich 1.
If you speak nicely, I'll come round and shit through your letterbox.
Exactly, you'll shit through your letterbox.
There will be a market for that. There will be a market. Somewhere on the internet.
It's more for our new chap. Let him know sort of the arena that he's playing in. because he doesn't
Old
know
folks
us.
home.
An old folks' home, exactly. With Mr. Rich one a lot closer to a Zimmer frame than the others.
Not much.
Good
It
to know.
was a teenage wedding, and the old folks wished them well.
I don't know why that's happening.
No, it's because I'm trying to break up so we can move on because we're on game 2. So no one's a Final Fantasy. No one's a Final Fantasy. Right, here's one I think might be jokerable. Star Wars Outlaws.
Oh,
Obviously, it's on every platform coming out. It's from Massive Entertainment, the Division guys, which is what worries me. Maybe. It was, and weirdly, when I was reading the synopsis of it, because I didn't realise that it's to do with a heist. So you are playing a character set between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. That's when it's set, and you are travelling around to make an attempt at one of the biggest heists. Well, make an attempt at one of the biggest heists in the Outer Rim has ever seen, across several planets, a Tatooine. And what, Akiva?
Oh my god!
And another, and that's it.
Yeah, this is my potential Joker.
So is this Payday meets Battlefront?
Yes,
I just thought that
yeah.
heist thing was weird.
It sounds
Well,
very
it's-
much like a Star Wars game where you don't get a lightsaber, and
It's a Star Wars game where you don't get a lightsaber. You play a scoundrel, so you are in the Han Solo mold. It is more akin to Space GTA in the Star Wars universe. Like, it's very open world. Yeah, it's open world. You can steal vehicles. You play a young lady who is trying to make it big in the criminal underworld with your big henchman, who is a giant alien but isn't a Wookiee. So you're not Han Solo, but you totally are a female Han Solo. And he's totally your Wookiee, whether you like it or not.
But you hated the Division, didn't you?
Hated the Division, but this is Star Wars, mate. Like, you don't take me away from Star Wars. That's not how it works.
Yeah, but that's that. Are we not expecting a reskinned Division?
No.
is it purely single player or? Yeah, it's purely single player.
It's purely single player. Very, very story based. Very story heavy. There will be. It's been alluded to. There'll be crossover events. I don't know if you've seen Solo, the Star Wars story, but at the end of it, there is lots of talk of sort of the criminal underworld, and Emilia Clarke's character has some shady calls with, I think it's Darth Maul at the end. It's very much trying to bring a Star Wars experience into that open world game style. And it's certainly piqued my interest, and if the stuff that keeps coming out from it is as good as it looks so far, it may very well be my Joker.
Fair enough. Anyone else?
I'm going to have a look at that, but I'm not getting it on day one.
Yeah,
No.
It definitely won't be a day one. It will be wait and actually see. But I could definitely see it being tempting.
I would imagine it'll be a Black Friday purchase if it's going to be my Joker. By then it'll be patched to buggery and hopefully be somewhere close to what they expected it to be, and will be in sale.
Nice.
So not to start down that path, but it is a sad state of affairs. But that's where we are with game development.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, mate, isn't it? I think that as members of a gaming community, we have all been burned few too many times and seen other members be burned in the same way. Unless it's something we absolutely must play before people start to spoil it, just wait.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, just think how many Star Wars games in the past have been complete piles of shit just because they've had the badge.
Since then we've had the Jedi Survivor and all that stuff, and they were fucking phenomenal.
Well, Jedi Survivors was a last minute purchase for me, so I've bunged that on the pile, and I'm looking forward to that.
New Game Plus is worth it just for the Disco Saber.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. All right, okay. So going a bit left field again. Tales of Kenzera Zhao. which is on the highly anticipated, not coming out till April, but it's a. Has anyone heard of this? It's it's a where it's a scroller single player side scrolling platformer, which I hate. I'm not interested, not really interested in, but I'm interested whether or not you guys are platformers or not. Seeing as I don't know, you can't call Thomas Was Alone a platformer. Maybe you do. I don't know.
Yeah.
But this one seems to be trading off the fact that the game's developer has weaved in his grief experience about his father with it, which is what I thought was quite interesting because Hellblade was a game that was built on the experiences of mental illness, and that was really interesting. Even though the gameplay, I thought if it was standalone, if it didn't have that running through it, would have been a bit interesting. And I guess this links to Thomas Was Alone, because I just saw Thomas Was Alone as a puzzler, don't know what you call it, and I didn't connect to any story with it for some reason. And this one seems the same because they're trading on it heavily, and it's being trailed as like an indie classic. But
I would say Thomas Was Alone. I'd say Thomas Was Alone is very much a narrative platformer.
Yeah. Well, this is what this is trading off of. This a platformer. If you just looked at it with the sound off, it just looks like any platformer. Jump, shoot, jump through a wall, jump. Anyone a platformer?
I can definitely get into them, especially if they have got a powerful story. I don't know if anybody's played Lost Words, but that was a fantastic game. So it was the story basically is that the girl's given a diary by her grandma just before she passes away, and then it's her writing in the diary, and you're quite often jumping across her words and her paragraphs and stuff, and then like you can grab hold of words like the word pull and you keep it in your book, and then you can use it to unlock puzzles and stuff as you go along. But the mechanics were a lot less interesting and a lot less the hook of the game than the story and the emotions and everything involved. So I definitely can get in behind something that's like that. I'm sort of a big fan of games as storytelling and art forms rather than necessarily just the actual gameplay itself.
Well, saying that, I forced myself to play Child of Light, which I didn't put on the list last year. A shame that I was on, and actually again thoroughly enjoyed it. And it wasn't a mechanic or an art style or anything that I thought I would like, but because I committed to doing it, I did it, and one of the best gaming experiences of the last couple of years. So there's something in it. All right then. This one, I think this one is my potential Joker. I think is Rise of the Ronin, being a Ghost of Tsushima nut. This one coming out from Team Ninja, although I don't like any of the Dead or Alive series, but I've been watching some of the trailers, and it's basically Ghost of Tsushima, and they're trying to trump that. It looks really, really appealing to me. I love a little bit of sword play, as you know, Toby. Yes. Anyone else Ghost of Tsushima fans? Rise of the Ronin, flicking any switches?
It's on my pile. It's on my pile this year.
Ghost is?
Yeah.
Oh, it's one of those games that I wish... It's one of those games like films, like would have said, oh, I wish I could just watch that again. Like Breaking Bad or something like that. Just like, I wish I could just wipe my memory.
Mass Effect 2.
Everyone says. Can I make a confession? I've never played a Mass Effect game.
Play all three of them in your year of shame, and it will change your life. If you don't cry, if you don't cry in Mass Effect 3, are you even really a human?
Well, we will see.
I cried. My wife came into the room and was like, what the fuck's wrong with you? I was like, so-and-so just died. And she was like, oh, for fuck's sake. I won't say who, because every playthrough is different. It depends on your choices. But someone who was very dear to me had passed on.
I suspect I know which.
Fair enough.
The Krogan Genophage choice.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, spoiler!
Yep.
Spoiler!
It's not a spoiler, because you don't know what choice I made.
Fair enough.
So, Ghost of Tsushima, unfortunately, is one of those few games that does not come anywhere near a PC, and therefore I have not played it. But
yeah. This is only a PS. Sorry, Kev. This is only a PS5 release. There is something that we can do. There are a couple of non-PS5 releases coming up. But I reckon. So, Rich.
Nah.
Rise of the Ronin. No, you don't give a crap.
No, thank you.
Do you like any games? I mean, I must admit, when you went through your pile of shame, I hadn't heard of half of them. I mean, I had not heard of half of them. I'm like, where is this guy getting these games from? Are they even games?
Yeah. Give me a good horror game, and I'll right there.
I've got some good horror games in my pile this year. I've got all of the Dark Pictures ones to play.
I played the first one. I played the first one, but I had a demo of the second one, but I didn't like the second one.
I've got all three.
Okay,
I nearly got the Quarry, but I didn't get it.
Oh, the Quarry's amazing. You should get that. We should multiplayer it.
I've got the Quarry.
We should multiplayer the Quarry.
Without Kev. Unfortunately, that's going to be
he doesn't have a PS5.
Kev, you're just going to have to jump on and watch us. We'll have to stream it together, and you'll have to come on and do commentary. Yeah, and then Kev can do commentary.
So the Quarry is apparently on PC, but whether it's cross-platform is another. I also don't think I own it, so that would be a.
So you've got a day to buy it.
The irony of this is you end up spending all of the money you were going to spend next year before you actually start the year. So it's really a zero-sum game.
On Steam, the Quarry's got to be about £3.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, love games like that. We'll enjoy playing that. All right, okay. So this one has been getting kind of mixed reviews on the trailer. Avowed. So this is game number 6, sometime there. But this seems to only be a PC Xbox game. So Kev,
so Avowed
is this on your list?
Is one that I was aware of, and was interested in. I had not realised that was next year. Excellent.
Oh, so this is obviously from Obsidian Entertainment. So you've got and I don't really like. I have mixed feelings about Obsidian games. Fallout Vegas, Pillars of Eternity, Outer Worlds. Like Pillars of Eternity, a fantastic game. Outer Worlds,
they're fantastic storyline writers. Like they really are.
It's set. I'm just reading about it. It's set in the same universe as Pillars of Eternity.
Yeah. So
wow. Okay. Pillars of Eternity, by the way, is on my pile this year to actually fucking finish it. Because I think it's one of the games that I put the most hours into and still haven't actually finished. And that's just from every time I go to start it, I'm like, what the hell's going on here? Oh, I'll just start a new playthrough and then get to pretty much the same spot before ending it again.
Okay, so I think for you, maybe I mean, if it's going to be released on the PS, then it's probably for 25. But it is interesting. So we get plenty of time to see it. All right, moving on. Telltale Games. Anyone Telltale Gamer? Anyone like those?
Yeah, no, I've played a lot of Telltale. In fact, my only platinum on PlayStation is Game of Thrones Telltale Games.
Okay.
Did they not go under? Or am I remembering
they did, but they've been revived.
Aha.
Well, I hope so because they're bringing out The Wolf Among Us 2.
That's another that's either a joker or a gift for me.
Detective noir, fairy tale characters.
It's very fucking cool. So the games are set on a series of comics called Fables, and they're sort of a hyper-realised versions of fairy tales, and all the people from fairy tales live in a sort of rundown New Yorkish kind of place for the most part in the games. In the comics, there's a lot more diversity to where these things take place. The first one was really good, and me and the wife often play games like that together, so it's something that we'll certainly be looking at. I don't believe it's out until the end of the year, so I've got a feeling it'll be pushed.
Yeah, it's I didn't see it. I've just got a TBA 24 on it, so I don't know when that is coming out. I don't think it would ever push me to a Joker. Telltale Games are not worth wasting a Joker, or maybe a little gift at the end of the year, a little Christmas gift.
The story of that one is good, but you need to play the first.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, all right. Okay, so moving on. This one I put on the list because I thought it was an interesting time to release a game like this. It's Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl. which is basically a first-person shooter, single-player game. It is only Xbox, PC. Set in Chernobyl, exclusion zone, mutants and anomalies, basically. So maybe a kind of a Dead Space-ish feel to it. Maybe Call of Duty campaign-esque. Maybe a bit Fallouty, but it kind of gives it's not obviously Obsidian or a normal Fallout type game. But has anyone played Stalker 1?
You play
No,
real
I
life,
haven't.
Toby.
No.
I've been one.
You are one.
Exactly. Well, I mean, Stalker is spelt with Staker, as you said, with lots of dots in a minute. So obviously, Stalker stands for something. But if no one knows it, we'll move on.
Yeah, so the last Stalker games were mid to late 2000s. So I'm not sure how relevant the fact that it's a sequel will actually be.
Yeah, and GSC Game World is the developer, and I've never heard of those guys.
If you'd like to know what the acronym stands for, I can tell you.
Go on then. What does it stand for?
Scavengers, trespassers, adventurers, loners, killers, explorers, and robbers.
Oh my
I feel
god,
like
that is
something
shoehorned.
they came up
in,
with
or
Stalker and then made something fit it, right? Like
what? That is really shoehorned in.
Fucking terrible.
Absolutely terrible. Yeah, exactly. So number 9 on the list, Capcom Dragon's Dogma 2, sequel to Dragon's Dogma. I got so bored of looking through this list, I didn't even look up what Dragon's Dogma was. But I actually think it's a role-playing game. So I think I did actually watch a few trailers. It gave me a Skyrim vibe, but I never played Dragon's Dogma. Kev, you seem to be a bit of a fantasist. Do you like that kind of thing, Rich?
yeah, it's definitely my sort of wheelhouse. But I wasn't aware of Dragon's Dogma, so
I've played Dragon's Dogma a bit. Wasn't impressed by it, but I'll be interested to see what they do with it.
So here's an interesting thing. Sorry, if I can just take things back a second.
Yeah.
Avowed. So, Avowed will be coming out on Game Pass.
Okay.
So, it's whether you play a Joker on a game that you actually get for free or not.
Yeah.
That's an interesting quandary. And one we should put out to the community, because that's an interesting state of affairs.
Can I call it a gift? A gift from Microsoft to me.
If you call it your gift, it's the same deal, I guess.
Sure.
You can't have another gift. I'm interested to know, for the people listening, what their thoughts are on whether they'd actually dip on something that they could get for free and still call it a Joker or a gift.
Yeah.
Depends on how desperate you are to play it, I guess, right?
Yeah.
I thought we were locking our subscriptions down now, so no new releases on subscriptions are allowed to be added to library now.
That's why I'm saying it would have to be a gift or a Joker.
Yeah. I guess the money doesn't matter, does it? It's
no, because if you spent 50p on a Joker, you spent 70 quid on a Joker, it's still a Joker. Yeah. And so that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, it's certainly interesting. Whether or not you can pre-order it, no. Anyway, we've already done those rules. All right, okay. Dragon's Dogma doesn't seem to get much love. There you go. So for fans of Batman, Arkham City, Rocksteady Studios, DC Comics stuff, Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. Is that tickling anyone's fancy?
Yeah, it's another one that's my potential gift or Joker.
Yeah, that will be very much dependent on what the reviews and stuff are like.
Again, patches.
Yeah, had a look at that.
Patches.
Yeah.
To me, it's got more of a Spider-Man vibe to it than Batman in the way it plays and stuff. It has exactly. So it looks like they're taking that Spider-Man mechanic and the way and the views on it and the attack.
I mean, Spider-Man was a bit of an Arkham clone anyway.
I was about to say Spider-Man is essentially Batman with web swinging.
Yeah.
It's essentially an Arkham game. The dodging and combat are both hugely reminiscent of the Arkham series.
Yeah. I just think the way that they pulled it off, though, isn't it? And so I guess they felt it's a little bit of a PES FIFA competition, isn't it? It's like, hang on, we invented this. Yeah, like, yeah, but we did it better.
Yeah, very much.
They're coming back at it with this game.
The Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League looks absolutely batshit, which is brilliant. You know how much of a comic nerd I am. So, like, as soon as games that actually do a comic universe justice appear, I start to get very warm in the trousers. So it's
wet yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
It does.
Doesn't everyone?
As long as we're clear.
Everyone.
Little sex wee.
You know, like when you greet a dog that's really excited and they can't help but a little bit of wee comes out.
Sure.
Toby with it.
Sure.
Same deal.
It's what happens when Ford gets his hand on a replica gun.
Don't make him get the guns. It's the first episode.
Oh, it is. Let's move on from there. Rich, any love for DC World?
The Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'll definitely look at that. Definitely like it. I was a big fan of the Arkham games. For some reason, not so much Spider-Man. Maybe I was a bit comic booked out at that point, but I love the Batman games. I'm definitely going to check that out.
Okay, all right, that's good. All right, okay, on to number 11, nearly there at the end of the list. It's been a good discussion, but I think this one's going to be a quick one. I mean, I don't know any of you guys that like it. I fucking hate these games. Tekken 8.
No, fuck off.
No?
Don't mind a fighting game, not particularly attached to Tekken.
No. I think once you pass the age of 21 and your twitch mechanics and your fingers go down, the whole thing just becomes a nightmare.
I gave up on beat 'em ups after Double Dragon.
Yes, playing against my 13-year-old on Soul Calibur the other day taught me just how much I have lost over the years.
And why you're going to turn-based games, exactly.
Absolutely.
So, if I said it was a turn-based Tekken 8, would you be interested?
I'm not sure how that would work, but
sounds like the most dogshit game.
Exactly. Well, I looked at the notes from the developer, the short notes, just to see what it is. The latest installment of the Tekken series with redesigned visuals was the best they could say about it. So that says it all.
They've not updated the game engine. Lovely.
Right. So what hits number 12 then, man? I'm interested to what rounds out this list.
Serena's. Not Serena's. Senua's Saga. Not Serena. Sorry, Serena. Senua's Saga. Senua's a Hellblade 2. Now, 2. Yeah. Hellblade 2 coming in on all platforms, as far as I can see. Actually, no. My notes down here just say Windows and Xbox. So that would be harsh. But I think we all know Hellblade. You've got it on your piles. Anyone got it on their pile? Hellblade?
Yeah, it's on my pile.
No. What do you think?
On my private pile.
I think it's a kind of Telltale Games thing, and I think it's really interesting. But I just don't think it's going to come out on the PlayStation then if it's not even listing it now. So Kev, have you played Hellblade?
I haven't. No, I don't have it on my pile or anything. It's
It must be on there. It must be. Download it from your Game Pass. It's got to be on there.
You can add it.
Is it on Game Pass?
Add it before 1st of Jan.
But I think it's quite telling that the amount of exclusives coming to Microsoft is just even in that list. There's 4.
Lacking.
No, there's more. There's more than I think. More. There's only one PS5 exclusive on there.
Okay.
As far as I can see, says that Microsoft just buying up the world probably is.
Well, yeah, it's their usual strategy.
Yeah. And this concludes the 12 games of Christmas, or whatever, 24.
Okay, so wanted to jump in with some of the questions that the community have thrown at us next. We've been quite lucky that Season 11 have thrown the question out, so people have jumped in with a few questions for us without knowing who we are or how we'll be answering them. So, Kev, I'm going to run to you first with a lot of these because
Excellent.
the community don't know a lot about you.
Sure.
So I'm intrigued, as much as they are, as to what your answers might be. So the first question came from Mark Monaghan, who is, I think it's fair to say, a bit of a stalwart of the community. Someone whose opinion I am usually quite interested in hearing. We tend to be on the same wavelength on a lot of things. And he simply asked why. Now, obviously, we've touched on that a bit, but just why?
Yeah, like I said, I think I cheap games and stuff come up, and I have a tendency to just click buy without necessarily thinking about it. You know, oh, it's only a fiver or only a few quid or whatever, and they pile up, and you kind of never actually get round to them, or you buy a humble bundle of. I was saying in the group chat, I think I've got 12 pages of unclaimed humble bundle keys. That I keep meaning to go through and see what I actually want out of it and give away whatever I don't want or whatever. It's sort of one of those things that you just got into the habit of just buying them. So yeah, I'm sort of my primary hope is that maybe at the end of this I will think twice before clicking buy on stuff. Whether or not that'll be the case, or whether a year of withdrawal from that will make it worse, or what the situation will be, I'm not sure. And then on top of that, to actually try and complete some of these bigger games that you get almost there with, and then distracted by whatever the new shiny is or whatever. So yeah, that's sort of my hope coming out at the end of this.
Beautiful. All right, Rich 2. Anything you want to add? Why?
Mine's very much getting the commitment to finishing it and not getting past the 50% mark and then just kind of getting bored or getting something else. I used to have a bit of a habit of doing it's £5, it'd be rude not to, but I've got past that a bit now. That was my thing from the last year of shame. Now, though, it's very much getting the completion of the game in there and not just stopping and starting something else. And then you forget you've got that far through it, and then sometimes you go back and think, well, how the fuck do I do these controls? And then you sort of go, I know what, I'll dial it back and learn them again and start all off again. So it's just cutting that out for me.
Beautiful. And Rich 1.
I think to add, I mean, we've said a lot, but the thing to add to it, I think I can add to it in terms of saying, for me, it's to do with the respect for the developers. Like it's fair enough. We dropped the money on, and we might just say, "Oh, they're happy with that." But there is something about getting through that. You know, that so people have put creative process in, and every time I've made the effort to get to the end of the game, it's given me a good warm feeling. And I think those who have put their time in for making these games, especially on the independent list games, things like Limbo, I think there's a little bit of respect. Let's complete their damn game. I think if I made a game and people bought it and then said didn't finish it, I think I'd be a bit upset. So this is for the developers, man. I'm doing it for them.
On that, one of the things I always do is if I do finish something, I will sit through the credits. Because those people are the ones that have taken time to give you the game that you've just played, and there's a lot of hours that have gone into some of those. So if I do finish something, on the first playthrough, not every bloody time, because you do New Game Plus, you know what's going on, but certainly for the first time, I will sit through the credits.
Beautiful. I don't think I've got anything to add to my whys that you haven't already said.
You mean you've got nothing to say?
I didn't say that, mate. Let's not be silly. I've always got something to say, just not about what Mark asked. We'll jump on to the next one from Rich Number One's Season 8 colleague, Mr. Stuart Whitehouse, or, as Steve in our year kept calling him, Mr. Whitehorse. I'm not really sure how that happened, but it did. He'd like to know your favourite and least favourite biscuits. Rich 2.
Favourite biscuit? Maryland triple choc cookie.
That's bastard. What about your least favourite?
Least favourite? Probably just like a plain digestive or something that's got far too much crumble value.
I just want to point Rich 1 out here because it looks like he's lost the will to fucking live. So we'll ask you next.
No, I don't. I was trying to
He
remember how to pronounce it because it's my favourite biscuit, and then I said Libinets.
Chocolate.
Leibniz.
Yeah, those ones. Where the ones where you
Come on.
nibble around the outside, it's a biscuit. It's a biscuit,
Yeah.
obviously. But
It's a biscuit.
yeah, absolutely smashed through a packet of those. My least favourite ones, Maryland cookies, because they are so disappointing. For cookies, they're just the
Really?
lowest rung of cookie.
No, baby, no.
They're often crumbly.
no.
They're often stale. They're not
Hurt
that
you.
interesting. There's so
Who
many
hurt
bad
you?
cookies out there.
Who
Maryland.
hurt you?
Maryland cookies hurt
They
me.
didn't hurt you. They didn't.
No.
No,
The
they
chocolate
didn't.
hazelnut are a sublime thing. That's a fact.
Nah.
Okay.
Nah.
Kev,
Disappointing.
tell the people.
Favorite's got to be the cheap as chocolate bourbons from whatever supermarket you happen to be nearby. Yeah, always a winner, always good value. Can't argue with them. And least favorite is probably going to be a controversial one. I dislike shortbread in all its forms. I cannot stand it.
You know we've got Scottish listeners. They're going to be
Yeah.
coming for you.
No, I am aware.
They're going to be coming for you, man. Right, mine are completely out of left field, and I apologise to anyone that this offends. My favourite biscuit, fig roll.
That's not a
I will
biscuit. You
smash a
can't
packet of
do
fig
that.
roll. Right,
It's
tell
a
me how
cake.
it's not a biscuit. Tell me how it's not a biscuit.
It's fig wrapped in cake. It's not a biscuit.
It's not baked.
Biscuit, not cake.
It's not baked twice. It's not by qui, which is what biscuit is. Baked
I think
twice.
you'll find that it is actually.
Biscotti means baked twice, and that is a biscuit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
fig roll is
not.
not a
fig roll
biscuit.
is a biscuit.
Go again.
Fig roll is a biscuit. Fig roll is a biscuit.
Go again.
I mean, technically, it is classified as a biscuit or cookie. I will withdraw my objection.
Thank you.
I was trying to throw the Jaffa cake. You just thrown that in there to create the biscuit cake argument, and it's not a Jaffa
Jaffa cakes
cake
are
argument.
cakes. There's no
No, a
argument.
Jaffa cake's a cake. That's fine. What you're confusing is that what actually is on the outside of a fig roll is hard, crunchy biscuit. It's not a fucking cake.
Yeah.
I thought it was like a cake base. I don't
No,
know.
I sort of
100%
thought it
not.
was as well, but no, I can see the
It's
argument.
hard, crunchy biscuit. And my least
Fair enough.
favourite, considering what my favourite is, my least favourite is a bit more out of left field because my least favourite is the Garibaldi. They can fuck off. Garibaldis can fuck right off.
What possibly can be wrong with it apart from the fact that it's named after an Italian dictator?
It's too fucking thin. They still managed to get raisins in it despite it being too fucking thin.
Oh, touched a nerve
Fair
there.
enough. Fair enough.
Fucking Garibaldi's cunts. Good, we've got the first C-bomb in. Hitting it out for anyone who's asking. We got Dave Southall.
Oh no.
His first question is how much have you had to drink? Which is
The
number
answer
2.
is not enough.
I'm
Not enough.
almost at 2 at this point. Pints, that is.
2. Mr. Rich One.
I have, after Christmas, I vowed to go sober up until there, so I've only had 4 pints.
Good. And I'm on my 4th can, but they're only small cans
Yeah,
because Brewdog cunts now.
and I'm feeling bloated as hell still.
Yeah,
I'm
I haven't
just-
drank beer for a long time.
More
I might hit the whiskey in a minute though, so that could change the landscape.
Mhm.
Good. What is the one that got away? Brackets, take that however you want. Kev, tell us, what's the one that got away?
I am not sure how to take that at all, to be honest.
Answers the question.
There was
What's her
a
name?
there was a job when I was at uni that I was supposed to get a placement for and fucked it up and didn't get it, and that I was definitely the one that got away, I reckon. It was a placement year followed by, if you performed well, a career afterwards. So I didn't get it, and I think that has to be that.
Hey, Richard, number one. What is your one that got away?
Oh God, what an absolute arsehole of a question. Because it's going to make me think, and I can't even think of it. I can't even think of anything. I mean, the amount of things that have slipped through my fingers over the
What about a
years.
deal? What about a deal? Is there a deal that got away that you thought you were going to get?
Mate, I don't want to get emotional or violent on here. So,
what about an investment opportunity?
What investment? I'm not getting into what investment opportunity. Honestly, you are. I have literally dropped. I've literally lost a deal this week, which is why it hurts my. It hurts my heart. Yes, that fell out. A very large, very exciting agency purchase that I was going to buy. TikTok specialist. And I missed the deal by 2 days.
That is definitely the one that got away. Sorry to hear.
I'm gonna cry.
Yeah, don't cry till we've stopped recording.
No, I've been absolutely fine. That's why I've been drinking ever since.
That's why I've been drinking. Rich number two. What's the one that got away?
I don't know.
Okay, good. I
might have had something when I worked at the bank that somebody told me about, and I couldn't have given a shit about investing in it at that time. It's probably quite a big company now.
No. Can I tell you about just my one that's got away? Because that's absolutely, forget what I just said. Just even edit that out because that was bullshit. My mate Steve sat me down in 2003 or 2 and said, I've just heard of this thing called Bitcoin. It's going to cost us 100 quid for 100 Bitcoins. And I said, why the fuck are you going to do that? He was like, go in 50 quid with me, will you? And I was like, nah. I remember it clear as day. I had no idea what he was talking about, but I would have had 50 Bitcoins sitting on a computer.
Okay. But, in terms of one that got away, if you'd had those 50 Bitcoins and hadn't sold them at the right time, they'd be worth fucking nothing.
What, 50 Bitcoins? They were a pound
a lot now.
Yeah, if you decided to pull the trigger too early, for instance, if you'd gone to your mate, these aren't moving, I don't know what the fuck the point of this is, and sold them on, they'd have been worth beans.
Yeah, but we weren't buying them for that. We were buying them because he was interested in what they were, as opposed to buying them for an investment. There wasn't even investment. There wasn't even an idea that it'd be an investment. It was just like, oh, this is cool. We can buy dodgy shit with it, basically. So yeah, no, I do. I know all of that. I know all of that theory. But or I'd be that guy who was scrabbling around for a computer
that hard drive?
In a hard drive, and just being
that dude in a rubbish dump, just scrambling through piles of rubbish.
That's probably more where I'd be on that one.
My one that got away, to round it off, is David Southall, the asker of the question. Because I really hoped he'd join us this year. There's a Star Wars game happening, and as soon as there's a Star Wars game happening, Dave Southall is in. So we weren't going to get a sniff. So he's definitely my one that got away. Then he's asked us, what shall I play next?
Silly buggers.
I'm going to quote Peter Capaldi from what's the film of The Thick of It called? I can't remember. The film of The Thick of It, where he coins a phrase which has stuck with me forever, and I think the thing that you should play next is Willy Banjo. Willy Banjo.
As in banjo with your willy, or?
Yeah, that's quite right, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's your instruction to David Southall, is it? Go play Willy Banjo.
Go play Willy Banjo.
Mm-hmm.
You'll feel a lot better.
Always.
Always. Ding, 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 ding. Oh, broke my banjo string. Good.
And he should, on his Willy Banjo, he should play some hillbilly rock.
Dueling banjos, obviously.
The Deer Hunter.
Or the devil went down to Georgia. Good. Next, how many mince pies do you reckon you could eat in one go? Dave Southall asks. Sadly, over this Christmas, I have smashed through a box and a half in one sitting without batting an eyelid.
Wow.
Is that a box of 6?
Box of 6. So yeah, I've done what?
9 in a shot. 9
in a shot. Yeah.
Is in one go, one sitting, one
sitting,
mouthful,
one not one mouthful. I'm going for one sitting. If it was one mouthful, I could probably go for 2.
He has got a big gob.
Yeah, I reckon box and a half, maybe even 2 boxes at a push. But
Box and a half. What a professional! I don't class them individually. I do pack and a half, mate. I'll do.
Your box radio too.
Yeah, I did 4 large cherry bakewells today. So I think that was a box. So I'll go for the mince pie equivalent. I think I'd probably falter at 6. I'd falter at 6.
Okay. Good. We are smashing through these. He also has asked this one, and I'm going to throw this out there. I'm going to just say 90s, noughties, 10s, and 20s. Okay. He's asked, what is the best game from each decade?
I don't know.
That's
when
a hell of a question.
I don't know when they came out. I just play the things.
I'm sorry.
I think Mass Effect 2's gotta be up there for the 2000s, right? Like,
so I'm going to say
just name 4 games I really like.
I'm going to say original GTA for the 90s, like the top down, first ever whack for the 90s. For the noughties, Mass Effect 1.
not 2.
No, because 2 was released in the 10s.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
He's got G list.
I'm literally Googling it as we speak because I don't know. So Mass Effect 1 was 2007, so 2 must have been in the 10s. 2010, yeah. So I'm going to go Grand Theft Auto, Mass Effect 1, Mass Effect 2, and then for the 20s, I think my favourite game, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. No, change that, scratch that. God of War, the new one.
Yeah, never played God of War.
Oh, mate, the new one. Well, the new 2, since they put it in sort of Scandinavia and brought in the Viking myth in with all the Greek stuff, has been just fucking brilliant.
I just can't get on with the game mechanics, but I think I've actually got it, so I haven't even looked. It's just on my pile, but I will give it a go. I mean, I just broke up there. I was going to give it a go of my list. Yeah, sorry. I don't know. You might have to put these in order and double check them. But I would say my favourite game of the 90s was probably Tomb Raider. It's just probably my favourite game. It's the one that I remember most. Portal, maybe, if that is 90s. Is it? I don't know. And then I'd probably go for Uncharted or Skyrim.
Portal is 2007. It's not 90s.
Sorry? Portal's
Portal,
2007?
2007.
Holy shit! No, I thought it was in the. I thought it might. Yeah, Christ Almighty! That is. Yeah, my brain does
just
not.
Just go for original GTA like I did. Just call it a day.
I don't think that. I know. I'm going Tomb Raider on PS1 because I know that was the 90s. I'll go for Left 4 Dead. That's got to be 2000s. Left 4 Dead, surely. Skyrim, if that sneaks into the 10s. If not GTA 5.
2008 for Left 4 Dead.
Skyrim, feels later.
2011.
Okay, so that sneaks in there. And then for the 20s, I would probably say I'm going to go for the last one I remember, which is Baldur's Gate 3. Because when I do finish it, I think it will be the greatest game of the 20s.
Hey, anyone else want to take a bash at a list?
Yeah, I reckon I've got a list. So I think for the 90s, Dungeon Keeper. Has to be
Yeah.
my top game. 2000s probably Knights of the Old Republic. That one really sort of started my love affair with the role
Yeah,
playing.
KOTOR was great.
Yeah.
I'm playing it again now.
Awesome. 2010s Mass Effect 2 easily, like no argument there. 20s actually really quite a hard one. Baldur's Gate is there because it has been fantastic, but I'm actually not confident in that as an answer for best one for the 20s. And obviously we've still got a lot of the 20s left to go. So, but we'll say Baldur's Gate 3 for the time being.
Fair dues.
I don't know the dates on any of these. I have a feeling a lot of them come within the 2010s, to be honest. Because I'm pretty sure Red Dead and the original are both in the 2010s. Because I'd have those.
Good point.
I'd have those two any day a week. That and
Two was in 18.
Red Dead's got to be 10 years before that. I think it was famously 10 years, wasn't it, until they released the
2010.
second?
It was 2010.
Oh, was it 2010?
Oh, you fucker.
Right on
They're
the
both
cusp,
in the
though. It was
same-
18th of May, so like.
Yeah.
What about the original Gran Turismo?
Gran Turismo?
What is the greatest game? Or is this
that
just...
decade.
Rich, it's not
No.
just name. It's not just guess. It's not like a pop quiz.
No.
It's just like get the decade right. Just guess a game in the decade. It's supposed to
97.
mean
97 for Gran Turismo.
I'm gonna, because that was one of the best games I had on the PS1. I think it was at the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll pick that.
I mean, Die Hard Trilogy was the best game on PS1, but you know.
Well, I mean, I'd be wrong.
Arguably, yes. Yeah. Fucking forgot that game. Wow.
What about
Brilliant,
Wolfenstein?
What about Wolfenstein?
That's
Die Hard
8.
Trilogy.
When did that come out?
92. Gonna say Wolfenstein 3D, maybe 89.
The
God,
original was the
Charles.
80s, I think.
Castle
no,
Wolfenstein was
no,
81.
81.
No.
No,
On the
not that one.
PC. 3D. the first 3D.
3D was
version.
92.
Okay.
Castle
Oh,
Wolfenstein-
yes.
Castle
Nailed
Wolfenstein
it.
was developed in 1981.
Yeah. Wolfenstein
That-
3D was 92.
3D,
Yeah.
3D, which, it's Gus, the greatest game. Anyway, good question.
Good question, Dave, but fucking long. Make him shorter next time. He's also asked favourite type of pants.
Sax boxers.
Oh, no. See, I've got to go step one. Step one.
I'm all
boxers.
about the step ones as
Amazing.
well. As
Step
much as
one are
like,
the fucking best.
absolutely.
I don't know step one, but my eyes
Definitely.
were open. My eyes were open. My balls were hugged with Sax SAXX. They have a hammock each for each ball. One hammock per ball,
Okay.
and the ball goes in.
Step ones have a 3D pouch at the front, they call it. And they hug you. And then they've got a bamboo strip across the middle to keep your legs cool and from chafing. It's fucking lovely. It's so nice.
Is that to attract pandas into your pants?
Yeah. I mean, you also
Gotta get them there somehow.
They're like, oh.
Beware of panda attack. Now, if you want a name for the episode, there it is. Panda pants.
Attack.
Panda attack. Panda pants
Episode
attack.
0, Panda attack. So the last question has come from a member of season 11, who's coming in a little bit mean here, chaps. I feel like this might be bullying. I don't know how you feel about this.
That's season 11 all over.
The question is, what is your hair care regime?
Yeah, that does feel a bit.
I feel seen. I feel seen.
As the baldest year of shame ever, I'm going to talk about my fucking beard hair. So shut your fucking face, Ross. I use L'Oreal Barber Club beard wash. I then like to follow that up with a little bit of wax on most days. I have a nice badger hair brush just to get all of the rubbish out of there and make sure that it's looking nice. I also usually, and not today as you can see on cam chaps, but I like to dye it with some Just for Men because there's a lot of grey going on.
I was going to say, you dye it with what? Grey dye?
I've just been waiting till the new year. Treat myself.
Yeah. Well, I go for whatever is in the bathroom. Literally. Although I have used some particularly weird beard soap. Yeah, bleach. Although I look at my camera and it looks like I've cut my beard, like my beard there, and it's like I've got like a that's just why I've got a weird light ginger bit going on in my beard here, which makes me look like I'm dribbling all the time. I keep looking at it thinking my beard, but anyway, so that's my hair care routine.
So I'm not sure if it will be believable or not, but I am not as bald as I look, and it's a pretty much a daily shave of the head to get this look.
Don't get off this podcast now. We told you, Kev, it was pure baldies only. None of you.
I mean, it's
Imposter.
definitely running away from the face, but yeah, it's a choice rather than a necessity.
Fair enough. Well, I don't know if I can wholly agree that that's the right choice, but I've not seen you with hair, so it doesn't really make a difference. So there you go. But yeah, good choice. Glad to have you on board. It's almost like a male feminist type thing. It's...
Right. So, we had one more thing. Yeah. So, it's been an amazing episode 0. We'll be back in late January with episode 1. Kev, your first recording with Midlife Gamer. Anything you want to say to close out? Any final thoughts?
Thanks for having me, and hopefully I'm not too much of a newbie to get this done.
You won't be. Not by the end
And
of it.
please be gentle with me to the community, I guess.
I'm
sure won't happen.
Side. I was all on your side, Kev, before you said that you, by choice, shaved your head.
Look at Toby's disappointed face.
Yeah, I'm so disappointed. I'm literally going to go and wank into a flannel and cry in a minute. Richard number 2. Willie Banjo all night long. Richard number 2. Anything you want to leave the people with?
Not that's broadcastable.
Lovely. Richard number 1. Any final thoughts? Any
Just
other
saying,
business?
I'm absolutely looking forward to this year with you crazy bastards. It's going to be a good one. Let's get some games done. Let's have some laughs. Let's go. Season 12.
So, I want to round off just by saying a few things to the people listening. Number 1, thank you so much for supporting the Year of Shame Challenge. Every year there's a hardcore of you that is always listening, always interacting, always firing up questions, always keeping us accountable. And we couldn't make this the fun thing that it is without that community interaction. We really, really appreciate it. Second thing I want to say is, and I said this before on Season 7, but the Midlife Gamer community is built on a foundation of good, hard hazing and giving people shit in the best possible way with love, but with a healthy dose of keeping people in check, keeping them accountable. There will be some things said on this podcast that sometimes people might think is a bit close to the knuckle. Please do drop us a message. We'll apologise. We love you all, and we don't want anyone to feel left out or like they are not part of this ride with us. That being said, I am a bit of a wanker and I will say some shit. So please do send me a message, and I'll do my best to make it up to you. Maybe with cuddles, I don't know, the odd picture of a buttock. We'll figure it out. So thank you very much for listening. I have been Toby James. Say goodbye to the people, Rich number 1.
Goodbye, people.
Say goodbye to the people, Kev.
Goodbye, people.
Say goodbye to the people, Rich number 2.
Goodbye, people.
And I will say goodbye. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll speak to you later on in January. Toby James out.